Many people deal with a fear of failure. A lot of people, quite normally, are afraid to fail because nobody likes to start over. Nobody wants to do things a different way. Learning is hard, unlearning is even harder. It's a lot of work. Nobody wants to feel like time has been wasted, money's been wasted. And sometimes keeping things how they are just is the most convenient thing to do, even if it's not the best choice. But failing is embarrassing to most people. But what a lot of people don't think about, there's also a fear of success. And I think if we're not sure, you might confuse the two. I am someone who personally struggles with the fear of success, meaning people like me have this idea of how successful they can be. They can imagine, envision themselves doing well versus people who feel failure are afraid, like, oh, what if it doesn't work out? What if I don't do well? I usually am of the mindset, oh, what if things go better than expected? And what is my life going to look like if I do well? And you would think that would be encouraging and motivational to imagine yourself doing well or being really successful. But it also can be intimidating to think, am I ready? Will people like me? Will I still have my friends? Will I have support? Because people also tell you it's lonely at the top and then that people will use you. And people tell you money changes people, but money changes the people around you. And so there's also a fear of like, what happens when I'm successful? What happens if I become a millionaire? What happens is this, like, what if I'm not ready? What if it takes me by surprise? What if I don't like it? What if it makes other parts of my life harder? There's so many other things that go into it that you kind of drag your feet because although you want to be successful, the life with success, because think about it, a lot of people deal with survivor's guilt, whether that's from a bad situation, a bad relationship, a traumatic experience, a natural disaster. When people survive something that other people didn't, there's some type of guilt or remorse some people feel of like, why did I survive? Or somebody deserved to survive over me, or it's not fair that I survived and they didn't. And sometimes a lot of people do well and feel like they're responsible for the people they left behind or who still aren't doing well. And now you want to overcompensate. And so you would think, like, oh, now that they're successful, they'd be happy. But a lot of successful people aren't happy. A lot of successful people are depressed. There's a lot of rich people who are depressed. And the reality is, you can be scared either way for different things. And so I just want to get into that. If you're not sure, if you thought you always had a fear of failure, but it didn't seem right, and maybe you actually have a fear of success, or maybe you have a fear of success and you're just like, you've never thought about it or understood it. Hopefully, this video helps you get a better understanding of what you're going through and thinking. Not necessarily any particular trips, but just helping you understand where you are right now. So I'm going to use my notes. If you want to take notes, feel free to do so. And as usual, we're going to start with some definitions. So we're going to start with defining the word success. Success is the accomplishment of an aim or purpose. This can be the good or bad outcome of an undertaking. And what that means is people can successfully do, look at the world, the state of the world right now. People can successfully steal something from someone or overtake the government, or people can do things unlawfully successfully. So success is not, while it has a positive connotation, it also can be a negative thing if people are successful at breaking your heart or successful at abandoning you. Like if they've done it and they've accomplished what they set out to do, then it is technically successful. We just usually only use the word success when we achieve something we want to do, usually with good intentions of achieving a goal, like um, graduating, a new job, a promotion, a raise, things like that is usually when we talk about success. But you can be successful at doing something bad, morally wrong, and other things as well. So, the definition of success that we're using today is the accomplishment of an aim or purpose, good or bad, the good or bad outcome of an undertaking. So, I want to start with telling you to think about what your definition of success is for your life. And the reason I want you to think about this is because a lot of times when I talk to people about how they define success, excuse me, have allergies, my nose is itching. But when I talk to people about success, what I notice is oftentimes people move the goalposts. I'll be successful when I make 100,000 a year. They make 100,000 is still not enough, usually because of lifestyle creep. We'll talk about that in a different video. And then they want to make 150,000, and a lot of people do go on to make that, and then they still aren't satisfied, which is a different word from successful. And then they just, oh, I just need to be a millionaire. And it's like, then you become a millionaire. Now what? Again, all millionaires aren't happy. They're successful to the public's eye, but how do you define success? And I think that's very important because it will help shape how you make your goals and how you go after them. Because if you are able to define success, you will see that maybe your goals are not realistic or not even actually what you want, but what you think you should have, because it gives you the image to other people or the idea of success. That nice car, that nice house, all these things that are equipped with status, because status and success are not synonymous. But we have all these things that, especially in this capitalistic society of status signals, and we think, oh, I'll be successful because I'll have the dream house. You get the dream house. What about it makes you successful, right? So define success, because what you think success is may not actually be success. It could just be you have these big goals. They don't make you successful. Maybe you're just high achieving. Are you trying to prove something to yourself, to someone else? You're trying to prove to people who never believed in you. You're trying to make someone proud, especially a lot of people who have a parent that never told them they were proud or didn't have a parent at all. And now they're still living this life trying to prove that they're worthy of love, which I usually talk about as performative love. Let me know if you want a video about performative love, because we're not going to get into it today. But we're doing all these things to achieve success that have nothing to do with what we want or our happiness, because we get our happiness and validation through how other people feel about us or receive us or interact with us. And that is a very dangerous slope to be in, and that is not the key to happiness. So what is success to you? How do you define success? Is it when you have a certain amount of money, a certain job? Is it when you settle down and have a family? Is it when you get married? And why is that your definition of success? What about that will make your life better? So forth and so forth. So, failure. A lot of people feel like they failed when they haven't. But let's talk about what failure means. Failure means lack of success, or the omission of expected or required action. So you did not do the thing you intended to do. Now, this definition I like to also let people define for themselves, because people may work toward a goal and it doesn't go as planned, even though they've done well or they did complete something, just not the way they wanted to or the time period. They will say, I failed. And I will often ask my clients, how did you fail? What makes you a failure? They said, well, because I thought it was going to go this way. I'm like, well, did you do the thing or not? And they're like, I did. I'm like, so how are you a failure? Right? And you might think that's harsh, but I'm going to ask the same thing for you. If you did what you set out to do, it didn't go your way, because life doesn't. But how does that make you a failure? Did you fail at it, or are you just not satisfied at the way in which things played out? Because you might have some control issues. Did you fail? Or are you being hard to please? Did you fail, or do you keep raising the bar? Because that's the other thing. People will say, when I do this, I'll be successful or happy. They get there and they don't like it. It's uncomfortable. And because they're not happy, it didn't satisfy them. They're like, I failed. And it's like, no, you did it. You said you wanted to get your degree. You got your degree. And like, yeah, but I can't find a job in this field, or it actually doesn't pay this much. It doesn't mean you failed. You accomplished the thing. So there is no lack of success, because remember, you can succeed at not doing something well too. So I know people are like, it's not that deep and this is wordy, but words matter, which I made a video about already. Words matter. And sometimes how you define your situation or yourself shows a lot of your self-worth, especially when the words don't align to what's happened. If you did something and completed it, or you achieved something, and you, especially if you've achieved the desired outcome, you did not fail just because it took longer, it was harder, some people disappointed you along the way, blase blase. That does not mean you failed. Okay, that just means you like stuff to go your way, and I do too. So what is your definition of failure? How do you define failure? Because you're allowed to disagree with me, and you can put these definitions in the chat. I mean, I don't have a chat, this isn't live, in the comments, or you can just write it down for yourself to reflect, or take it to your therapist as well. Because when we talk about failure, don't people tend to leave out things like when they feel defeated or when they have unrealistic expectations, because defeat is when you face adversity, and usually sometimes adversity wins. Like if you've been trying to finish school for 12 years and everything keeps happening and you drop out, you felt defeated and you felt like you couldn't go anymore, and therefore you may say, I failed. because I did not accomplish this thing. But what about the fact that you tried? What about how far you've come? What about all that you've done? If you were able to do it for even 12 years, if that is you, you tried. You gave it your all. You didn't finish because that was the goal, but you went back to school, like you said. You like there's so many other things you could have accomplished in that process. So many things you learned, so many experiences. You could have met people for a job that's better than you, better for you. So many other things could have come out of that experience that you can have pockets of success, even though the end goal did not go as planned. And so I just want to challenge people to not see everything as all or nothing, very extreme of I failed because of this thing. You a win is a win, and there may be small wins. And if you did not get your desired outcome, evaluate, was it realistic to begin with? What are your obstacles? What can I do now? Who what resources do I need and I don't have? And strategize to see how you can do it and go for it. So now we're going to talk about the definition of fear. Fear is an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone or something is dangerous, likely to cause pain or a threat. Again, fear is an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone or something is either dangerous, likely to cause pain, or a threat. You believe that doesn't mean it's true, but your thoughts have turned into feelings of like, this is going to happen. You've convinced yourself, if you do this, this will happen. And therefore, you were afraid of that thing you've decided will happen before it's happened. Sound familiar? Also looks like anxiety, because we define anxiety. It's not the textbook definition. Worrying about worrying. Anxiety is a liar. I'm gonna get it put on a t-shirt. Don't steal my idea. Anxiety has convinced you this is gonna happen, this is gonna go wrong, this won't work out, da da da. And you chose to believe it, and now you're afraid to go after it. Remember, that's what I started this of the fear of failure, the fear of success. Your idea of what's gonna happen if you go for it is what's stopping you from starting, preventing you from starting, or making you go a lot slower. And I'm a victim of that. You can also think of fear as to be afraid of someone or something as likely to be oh, I did say that part, dangerous, painful, or threatening. Okay, so it's these are perceived threats. The thing may not be dangerous, the thing may not, whatever you're thinking of may not even happen. And that's what I always tell my clients who struggle with anxiety. First of all, the thing you're afraid of may not happen, but when we are going in our minds back and forth and spiraling, we're not even countering the arguments. And that's free tip for you. If you struggle with anxiety and the way you think about things, you should counter the thoughts. When we think about what if and we're going down the negative, we never think about what if it goes well? What if everything's all right? What if everything's fine? What if they do like me? What if I do get the job? What if they do whatever? Like there's a positive option to the alternative of whatever you're thinking, but we stay stuck on that, and that inhibits us from accomplishing our goals. So taking this back to the title of this video, fear of success versus fear of failure, fear of success, that list be kicking my behind sometime. Fear of failure versus fear of success are not the same thing, but they work in similar capacities because both of them can hinder you. And so I want to ask you, what is hindering you today? Do you Are you afraid of failing, of embarrassment, shame, being laughed at, talked about? Because if you do the thing, if you look silly, if you mess up, whatever. Are you even afraid of leaving people behind, making it out, and not having friends anymore, hanging with a different group of people, and having to move or work more, or whatever life could look like if things blow up, so to speak, and go well, blow up in a positive way? As someone who likes to talk about words, as in, like, people blow up on social media, go viral. So I'm saying in your personal life, if everything goes well, and that's like, I can't imagine. Like, you can imagine it, but it's scary to think like, if everything goes right. And I think a lot of people would think like that's crazy. Like, I would love to be able to see the bright side. You can confront your fears, face your fears. What if it works out? What if it's better than you imagine? What if it's easy? What if it doesn't even take as long as you thought it was going to take? Time is going to pass anyway. So do the thing, do it now. Don't that sound like a commercial? But I'm rooting for you. And I think nothing beats a failure but a try. So I think it'll be worth it. You're worth it.